and he is our first guest of the day. So let us say hello to the internet darling himself, Chase Hooper, who is kind enough to join us after a big win, a big night on Saturday. Congrats on the win, Chase. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's great to be here.
Yes, great to have you back on the show. Yes. So I apologize for that, but great to have you back on. Holy shit, man. I said that you got that grown man strength now. That was a beatdown, a very impressive, dare I say, a pretty darn close to a 10-7 round in the first. Those are almost impossible, but 10-8. And then eventually the win in the second round. Overall, I can't imagine that you were, upset, disappointed, critical of anything, right? That is as good of a night at the office as you can get.
Yeah, I mean, I only taken single digit strikes was not too bad. Especially I assumed win or loss, like I was going to be hurting after that fight. Just Slav is such a dangerous guy, and yeah, I mean, I'm more of a glass half empty type of guy, so I try to go in with lower expectations, and then you get surprised when things turn out well. So yeah, pretty good night overall.
Were you expecting that? Considering the fact you're a glass half empty guy, were you expecting? You say a war, but you say you're gonna, hopefully you're gonna win. You're confident. Was there any part of you that in the back of your mind said like, hey, you know what? I match up well with this guy. Maybe it doesn't have to be that.
Honestly, I really thought watching a lot of his fights, I was like, his grappling is very primitive, very minimal. And I felt like the guys that he's fought before and been out grappled by, I felt like at least jiu-jitsu wise, I had better jiu-jitsu, but I'd seen a lot of improvements in Slava's counter wrestling, like in the past fights. And being at Team Alpha Male, there's no shortage of wrestlers for you to train with. So I figured his counter wrestling would be even better this fight, but clipping him early, I think he really was. It felt like he was hesitating a lot in the fight. I guess I'm more of just like a forward, go type of guy. I'm like, hey, we're in the cage, we're here to fight. There's no reason to back off the gas. I'm going forward the whole time, here to fight. And I felt like he wasn't really matching that energy. He was doing a great job off the beginning, kind of staying out, just beyond my range, which I could tell. I was like, all right, this dude knows what he's doing. But I was waiting for those strikes. I think he, on the other side, though, was really waiting for that shot. He was waiting for me to shoot in immediately. And, that set up that overhand. I've been playing with that for a minute. And, yeah, I mean, I didn't really necessarily intend to use it right off the bat, but it obviously worked out.
So what about the actual stoppage? Because I saw a lot of people, a lot of fighters were upset with it. My 2 cents was that I don't think he tapped, just out of respect. But I just want to be honest with you. But I thought that you were rolling and it was inevitable. But just as far as an isolated thing, I saw the one tap, but I wasn't sure if that was clear cut. What do you think? I know you've watched it. I saw on your Twitter you told someone you watched it. So what do you think?
Yeah, so there was that specific angle where I felt like it was a pretty direct, his hand is out, tap, whatever that means. That, I did feel that one movement that was on the camera, but that's not my responsibility as the fighter.
For sure.
I wasn't going to let go. That's both me and him have to trust Keith, have to trust the referee with the objective lens. He's back from the fight. I'm in the mix. I'm, kind of tunnel visioned. I did feel like, it was either a panic tap or it was an unintentional one. I didn't feel like I felt like I had it locked in, but I didn't think I'd squeeze enough to really force that issue. But again, I felt like his grappling was very primitive, and from a lot of guys that are getting, put in submissions and they're not used to it as much, they might tap a little earlier than you would actually have to. The guy I warmed up with in the back, he'll literally be on the verge of going to sleep before he taps. So it's a whole spectrum of that. But again, at the end of the day, that's, as the fighter, it's on me to go until the ref tells me to stop. That's Keith's bad if he didn't tap. But that's me trusting him, trusting his refereeing experience. He's been in the cage longer than me, a lot more time. So yeah, it's deferring to the responsible party in there. We can't be responsible for our own safety in there. We need someone a little smarter for that. And yeah, I'm trusting Keith with that decision. But yeah, I mean, if he wouldn't have stopped it, I would have been just fine with that too. But honestly, I felt like he was making me work quite a bit for that TKO.
So okay, I'm curious. Do you feel like any of the I don't know, the takes on the stoppage like take away from like? Are you annoyed by them? Are you fixated on them? Are you listening to them? Do you feel like it kind of rained on the parade a little bit?
I mean, honestly, one of the UFC employees was like, "Hey, like, I hope it's not getting to you, like all the people asking." And I was like, "No, as long as they don't overturn it, like we're golden." Which I don't think they really overturn fights anymore. Like it,
Right.
it seems like a pretty hard thing to do. But no, I mean, it's one of those things where any publicity is good publicity. It gets people watching the fight. Um, yeah, I don't know. That's not my job to determine if he tapped or not. All my job was to let go, and the ref told me to stop. Um, yeah, I mean, I felt like the fight could have been stopped earlier from the strikes. Um, Maybe that's part of the reason Keith was kind of looking for a way to help get him out of there, because he was doing just enough to keep it from getting stopped. But yeah, I mean, it's not on me.
The only reason I asked that question is because you know how it is on social media. Like the clip of the finish will be posted with no
Sure.
context, obviously, and some people didn't watch you absolutely mauling the guy for whatever it was 7 8 minutes prior to that, and so I feel like I'm annoyed a little bit on your behalf because again I felt like it was inevitable. And that shouldn't be the story. The phantom tap, whatever you want to call it, shouldn't be the story. It should be just how good you looked, throughout the entire thing.
Yeah. No, that's fair. I mean, I think honestly at this point, like this is my ninth UFC fight. Like I've my contender fight, I started off rocky. Like it's been an up and down path the whole way. I've been so used to the fans, trying to take away from whatever success I have, or dogpile on you when you have troubles. Like I'm just so used to it at this point that it doesn't bug me. I don't know.
Fair enough. So what about this run though? This has to feel good, right? What's the difference now?
Yeah. 3-0. I feel like, and I've heard it from a lot of people that have been in UFC for a long time, is that there's an adjustment period. Like, for example, obviously I didn't have the same opponents as Max. I would say his competition was a little stiffer. Max Holloway went 3-3 in his first 6 UFC fights. Charles Oliveira 5-5 in his first 10 UFC fights. Like you see some of these greats in the sport that have been around forever. Like they had a rough start. And I would say part of that was the weight cut to 145. Like I just kind of kept growing. And coming in at 20 years old, I'm almost in here for now 5 years in the mix with some of the best guys in the world. It's hard to deny your body that growth spurt that it wants. Like at 45, I had to stay vegetarian in order to keep my weight down low enough to make the weight. And now at 55, I'm feeling like I'm able to fill out. I'm able to, fight a lot closer to my natural weight. And, the confidence is coming. Like I'm able to train hard fight week, pretty much everything short of sparring. Like that helps with the confidence versus 45. Like I was dying. Like I would just have little like packets of honey to try and give me enough sugar to get through a workout. And, it's a whole different world here at 55. And, it's a good thing I'm feeling this good because this is one hell of a division.
What do you walk around at? What is your actual natural weight?
That is a great question. Honestly, before the Aljo match, I was like 188. I think I settled in a little bit.
Wow.
But last year after my last fight at 45 and allegedly around the time I started dieting for this one, I got up to like 195.
Whoa.
But I think I kind of crash dieted a little for the Aljo match, and I think that kind of messed up my metabolism a little bit. So I think I was packing on the pounds. And then they do say like when you're by a pregnant woman that like the hormones will make you put on more weight. So I'll blame it on that.
Yes. Your wife is pregnant. You're expecting your first child. When is she due?
June 17th.
Okay.
So pretty much like a month out from the fight.
Wow. And do you know the sex of the baby?
Yeah, it's gonna be a girl. I heard all the fighters have girls, so
Yes, the tough ones, like the ones who are just filled with testosterone. That's
yeah.
that's how you know you're a super tough alpha male. That is extremely exciting. So does this feel different, this one? I mean, Mother's Day yesterday, you get the win over the weekend, you're about to become a dad, your wife's about to become a mom. I would imagine this all just kind of feels like you're on cloud nine.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where um, I feel like as a man, like you really kind of hit your stride as far as doing these things that you might not want to do, doing these hard things in life. You start to do that out of necessity, and now I'm having to provide. Like my wife's not working anymore. We've got a baby to provide for, and it's a lot of motivation. In the sauna, it was a rough weight cut. I just kept reminding myself between sessions. I was like doing this for my wife, doing this for my baby, and then doing this for that extra 10 G's that I'm not going to lose when I make weight. So it was a lot of motivation, especially in the tough parts of the sauna. Like in the fight, I really don't feel much anything, but big motivation beforehand.
Wow. So how tough was it? Because I was thinking maybe 155, like those days are behind you, but it doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter where you fight. It just is always tough.
Well, so yeah, I mean, I just, the dieting is the hardest part for a lot of the weight cut, just because it's a lot of discipline over a long period of time. But I've cut around the same amount of water, probably about 20 pounds. I walked into fight week at like 75.4, I think. And then, walked onto the scale so from Tuesday to, Friday morning, dropped from 74 or 75 all the way down to 55. And it's not even the first 15 pounds at all. It's literally the morning of weigh-ins where we're getting the last 2, 3, 4 pounds off. Brutal. Like you're in there for 45 minutes and you get out and you've only lost a pound. And then that's really, disheartening. I think that really toughens you up for the fight.
Also, I would imagine it's tough for you to make the weight because you're so jacked now. I see you on that secret juice. I see you with those muscles. Man, I didn't know you had that
Yeah.
kind of frame. I didn't know you had those kinds of muscles in you.
Hey, me neither. That's just honestly, that's 55 for you, I guess. I'll take it. I'll take what I can get.
Do you think eventually you'll be a 170 pounder? Because you're still so young.
Yeah, I've actually been talking to some of the welterweights. I just like to ask people, like, especially if you're not fighting them, if you're around them, at fight week or other guys I've trained with, just be like, hey, what are you walking around at? I just like to kind of get a gauge. I've heard of some welterweights walking around my same walking weight. So it's not out of the realm of possibility. But you do have the Jeff Neal type guys that are, blimping up to like 200 fight night, which is, insane. So it's kind of it's such a weird thing for the weight classes, especially that big jump. Maybe we'll get 165 here,
Oh,
not holding my breath, but no, it's just such a weird jump of 15 pounds from 155 to 170. It makes it a really difficult choice to be like, okay, I'm actively ready to move up and fight these bigger guys. And the thing for me too is they're going to be a lot taller. Like on average, the average height at 170 is a lot taller. So I wouldn't end up being the tall guy in 99% of the fights. So that's kind of another factor that you have to take into account.
by the way, I feel like you're a darling over at the UFC offices. You essentially are the face of Fight Pass. You throw in the 165-pound suggestion. I think they might listen to you.
Maybe Fight Pass, but I don't think Uncle Dana cares too much. We were talking about the logistics, my coach and I, and just like, they have to shift all the divisions. Then do you do 85, 95, like you get a lot more belts. It'd be a lot more exciting. But, how do you fill those divisions? It would just be such a weird shakeup. What do you do with the current champs if their division doesn't exist anymore?
Yeah.
Because you can't have 65 and 70. It's just such a mess. I understand kind of why they want to keep it like that. And then you got to deal with the commissions. I don't know. It's a lot of hassle. So I understand, I guess.
I will just say, and I completely agree with you, because then, the 70-pound guy may not want to fight at 75, etc. I don't think going from 55 to 65 to 75 to obviously 85, I don't think that means you have to add the 95. I don't think there's enough guys in that sweet spot of 85 to 205, but I definitely think there's enough guys in the 55 to 70 sweet spot of 165. I think a ton of guys would go there.
Fair enough. But then it's like, do you add something between 205 and 265? Or do you do like a 265 and up? Do you do open weight?
A super heavyweight? Why does that have to come into play if you just are adding the 65? Why can't it just be adding 65?
Just sounds fun.
Okay, fair enough.
Not.
Fair enough. By the way, first time in a while that you're fighting in front of a crowd, right?
Yeah.
How did that feel?
I've got to say, it was 1,000 times better than the Apex. No disrespect. I love the Apex. It's so comfy. It's so cozy. But you win, and people are like, woo, there's like 10 people in there clapping. Guy Fieri was at my last one. That was pretty sick. I didn't get to see Guy Fieri in this last show. But no, the crowd energy is insane. It's funny to hear, like they're booing Slava because he's Russian. They're cheering me just because I'm an American. It's funny to get to experience these things, and it's a lot of good energy. Getting the win, yeah, it felt like a real win. Like it felt like I won in one of the premier sports in the world, instead of like I won a sparring match in a gym and my teammates are happy.
Can you say with certainty that the crowd sometimes like energizes you to the point where you perform better? Like, do you think you have that exact same performance at the Apex? Or do you think the energy, the excitement, they help propel you to go to a different level?
I don't know. I think it's definitely, it might add to it, I would say. But on the walkout, I try to ignore the crowd as much as possible. Like, I'm just as motivated in the Apex. Like, this guy standing across from me, he's getting paid extra if he hurts me as much as he possibly can. So I'm pretty motivated to do the same to him before he can do it to me. But I would say the crowd, it just makes it feel cooler. Like, I kind of, I go in and out of, like, I wouldn't say consciousness, but like tunnel vision, I guess. So sometimes kind of locking back in and hearing the crowd chanting and stuff, it's very cool. And it's one of those moments where it's like getting to have experienced that, like I can die happy now. You know? It's cool.
And that crowd was, in particularly hot. It was an amazing crowd. Highest gate for a fight night ever in UFC history. Isn't that wild?
Yeah, I mean, we're making the way up there. So
I think it was because of you. I think because you were on the card. You should have been higher. You should have been at least co-main.
Yeah, they just Spain snubbed me on that one. They're really trying to push him.
Yeah.
No, I thought you were supposed to be main card, and then Buckley got put on there. It's one of those things where I was so worried about when I got to UFC, like, oh, I need sponsors. Oh, I need to be this high on the card. I need to, be fighting named guys, whatever. Like, and it's just realizing at the end of the day, like, when the results happen, the success will come. Like, if you are performing the way you need to be, like, you will get those spots, you will get those roles, you'll get those sponsors. Like, things will start coming to you if you're doing your job. So just focus on that.
When did that realization hit you? When did you start thinking differently?
I used to be really freaked out for fights. Like, I was terrified. I felt like I was being walked out to execution, that type of thing, where you just like, I'm just shuddering the whole day. Like, how can I get out of this? And then I really got into like sports psychology. Like, I was really looking at not even really anybody else. Like, I don't like asking for help, but listening to a lot of sports psychology books and just kind of listening to these strategies and like, kind of figuring out for myself, just like, hey, this is such a small thing. Regardless, at the end of the day, everything's going to be fine, and just realizing too that regardless of the result of the fight, like the people that do actually care about me and, the ones at home, like they're not going to care. They're just going to be happy that I'm safe and home and all that. So yeah, just really focusing on the stuff that actually matters. Like, these are such small snippets of time. And the pressure is really just whatever you put it on yourself. So it's been kind of taking that away. And I feel like that's really allowed me to open up and perform, and just like going into the octagon, Saturday night, I felt nothing. I felt cool, calm, collected, ready to go. Just and I mean, I think it's showing. I think it's showing that I'm less jittery, I'm less, anxious, and I'm getting into that mindset that I need to keep doing this.
How are you Saturday morning? How are you at the hotel?
Honestly, I woke up um probably around 7. I tried to sleep in a little bit, but whatever. I shaved, trimmed my nails. I was kind of a little jittery for that. Just a little bit of adrenaline. And then, my wife woke up. We went to Starbucks. I got a coffee. This has been my thing as I've been like after weigh-ins, I'll go pretty hard. I'll eat a lot of candy. I'll eat all the sweets I've been waiting for. And then the day of the fight, like that was my reward for making weight because that's the candy. That's you enjoy that. And then the day of the fight, back to like the meals that the PI provides, like rice and eggs. And then 1 cup of coffee. So I got 1 cup of coffee. Me and my wife went on a walk by the St. Louis Arch, a beautiful park out there. Just kind of, grounding yourself and like really just bringing things to reality. Just like, hey, regardless, everything's gonna be okay. Went back to the hotel, got a little shakeout. Felt amazing, honestly. Just kind of, shaking all that funk off of just the weight cut, and I hadn't worked out in a couple of days because of that. And then it was nice to be able to do that in a lower, like a less important setting, like it wasn't right before the fight. And then, went chilled in the room, left at 2:30, and I felt great, honestly, the whole time. I felt very calm, very cool, very collected, which is, not something I'm super used to. I've had fights where I'm kind of chasing that feeling of like, oh, I need to feel this, I need to feel that. But here I felt very, very calm and, like not even discounting, like I knew it was going to be a tough fight, but just telling myself, hey, it's 15 minutes. Like we'll get there when we get there. When it becomes time to perform, like you and your body will know what to do. So there's no reason to worry now. Like worrying now and planning all these scenarios out, you don't know what he's going to do. Just, enjoy the ride and, have as good of a time as you can.
This is great life advice, by the way. I can't imagine fighting and the nerves and the anxiety, but as a perpetual warrior, I do appreciate this perspective. A warrior on all things not fighting, because of course I don't possess that courage. By the way, the candy. What's the candy choice on Friday?
Well, M&Ms are definitely up there. I had some white chocolate macadamia nut cookies. I was really looking forward to those. Another thing that I kind of do that's a little weird, I have like a know your enemy type of I don't know, superstition. Like I if you notice, like in some of my post-fight interviews, I'm wearing a button-up shirt. It's like a Russian, like a camo from like the 90s, whatever. I bought some Russian like candy and stuff. I brought it with, and I had everybody on the team have a little bit. I was like, you don't have to finish it, but just try it a little bit. And then some kvass, which is like a Russian, like a fermented rye bread drink. So just really, I don't know, like it's a weird thing that I like to do is just kind of get in the mindset of your enemy a little bit. And yeah, I thought that was fun.
So if you're fighting a Brazilian fighter, Cuban fighter, Spanish, you're eating local food from where they're from.
Yeah, like when I fought Felipe Colares, the Brazilian, we went to a Brazilian steakhouse. Everybody loved that one. And then actually last fight, Jordan Levitt, I know that he's Mormon and he lives in Vegas. So we went to one of those little the soda shops. They're super big in Utah. They essentially take soda and they put like syrup in there and cream and stuff. And then we had like the Vegas buffet. Yeah, I don't know. It's a weird little thing that I do, but it makes me feel good. It makes me feel like I just checked that box in my head, whatever that is, just mentally. But yeah, it's fun.
Did you learn that from someone else, or is it just something you thought of?
Nope, I'm just a weirdo, and like my UFC debut, I fought Tamer. I was like, I don't know anything Swedish. I guess we're going to IKEA. So we walked around IKEA for a little bit, and I was like, all right.
Wow, you've been doing it for that long.
Yeah, I mean, I've done it for a long time, for sure.
Wow, this is fascinating stuff. I actually kind of love it. I love it. I guess everyone has something. Like if you were just fighting some regular, like if someone was if I were fighting you, I think you're just an American, right? You're just kind of like a regular American guy. What would I do to be on your level?
I I guess so Washington, I guess we got what? We have like Jones Soda.
Okay.
There's
That's your
something
big
like
thing.
that, you know. Or I think almond roca's from here. You know, I don't know.
What is that?
I would do a Google. It's like a little what is it? Like a toffee that's like coated in
Oh,
chocolate
okay.
and then it's got like almonds on the outside.
Got it. By the way,
I don't know.
what does your shirt say?
Oh, this is a little it's a Mob Deep reference with
Half.
jujitsu.
Wow, halfway hooks.
Yeah.
Wow, halfway crooks. I know that. That's a good one. Is that your shirt?
Yeah. Well, my longtime sponsor for jujitsu, that's one of their shirts, and I figured you would appreciate the New York hip
I
hop
love it.
reference.
Yes, yes. I could only see the 8-0. Who's the sponsor? I feel like I know these guys because I've seen other shirts where there's cool sayings on it.
These are CTRL Industries.
Okay.
They've been my guys since I was like 14. You know, on the local circuit, they were sending me some gis. You know, the OGs for sure.
Love it. Last thing, do you also want to call out Conor McGregor, or do you have someone else that you had in mind?
I mean, I made a sly remark about a certain British fella that
Yes.
might gain a little too much weight between fights. I think that's a little more reasonable of a call out than Connor.
I
I
feel
don't think
like
he's
those two guys are so unattainable now because everyone calls them out, right?
Yeah, that's the thing too. And I felt like if he lost the Tony fight, it would have been a pretty sure thing. But I think they'll try and find him the easiest top 15 guy they think that he can beat. Which people have discussed, like Bobby Green or who's the other one? Moicano, maybe.
That's not easy.
But I think no, I think both of those are brutal matchups, especially if you watch what Bobby Green just did to Jim Miller.
Yeah.
Where Patty was having issues on the feet with T Ferg, which, you know, he's no slouch, but hasn't been on the best momentum recently. I don't really know where Patty goes from here.
Yeah.
So
well, maybe
I'll take whoever they'll give me, really.
Enjoy the victory. Congratulations. Very impressive stuff. Really, really impressive. And it's great to see your evolution as a fighter and as a human being. And good luck next month as you welcome your first baby into this world. That's a very, very exciting time. So good luck to you and your wife, of course, and to the baby. I hope it all goes very smoothly.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Great talking to you.
Yes, same here. There he is, Chase Hooper. Thank you so much to him. A great win. And what a fascinating guy. I love hearing about some of those quirks. I've never heard of a fighter wanting to eat food from where the opponent is from, but feels very Fight Feast-esque. Thanks for watching. We appreciate it very much. Hey, if you like this video, give us the old thumbs up. Subscribe as well. You could get many more of these videos on the channel, so please do that. We would love you forever if you did so.